So allow me to just give you a brief background as to why we arranged this session today in partnership with AIDC. The National Community Radio Forum is representing, community radio broadcasters in South Africa. And we've been, around since the early 90s. And how the National Community Radio Forum was formed was through the activism of civil society back then. Lobbying and advocating for free airwaves in South Africa to allow communities to hear their own voices. And so the National Community Radio Forum was formed in Soweto in 1993. Look, at that meeting, there was discussions around a charter for this National Community Radio Forum, a forum that would represent community radio in South Africa. And I'm just going to, in your packs, is a copy of the charter within this document. And I'm just going to do a few extracts from there, just in order for us to have a context in terms of our discussion today. If you look at the preamble there, you'll see the launching of the National, I'm going to read it, the launching of the National Community Radio Forum in South Africa in 1993 was the culmination of years of free the airwaves activism through apartheid and during the CODESA power sharing talks of the early 1990s. The South African community radio movement is based on the belief that radio as the most affordable, egalitarian and accessible communication technology should be harnessed at community level to carry forward the country's reconstruction and development agenda. The South African Community Radio Movement supports the definition of community broadcasting in the Windhoek Charter on broadcasting in Africa. And the definition is as follows: community broadcasting is broadcasting which is for, by and about community, and whose ownership and management is representative of the community, which pursues a social development agenda and which is non-profit, realizing the need to ensure that community radio in South Africa reaches its full potential and that community radio stations excel. Members of the National Community Radio Forum commit themselves to this charter. I'm not going to read the charter, but I'm going to, just cover some headings out of the charter. The one heading, the first one, is the media freedom and diversity, playing a role in the continuing history of media activism and advocacy. The next heading that I'm mentioning is the community media or community radio one, ensuring the communities retain ownership of community radios through community elected boards of trustees who oversee the management of the stations. So there are certain principles that we adhere to as community broadcasters, and those are enshrined in this charter. And I think the most important for me is the community development component of the heading community development, fostering sustainable development through projects and campaigns, truly collaborating with communities through communal participative methodologies, promoting and facilitating quality programming underpinned by participatory research which is informative of good technical quality and enhances people's development, upholding the sustainable development values that underpin the NGO, CBO, non-profit and civil society sectors in South Africa and internationally, working together with South African civil society organizations, particularly community-based organizations, whenever such collaboration will add to the impact and sustainability of the sector. Collaborating with communities in ways that support the fight against discriminatory practices and that threaten equality, such as discrimination on the basis of race, ethnicity, nationality, religious belief, gender, sexual orientation, AIDS, disability, poverty, etc. So these principles this is the foundation of the community radio sector in South Africa. As part of its development mandate, it then identified or tried to crystallize what is it that this sector stands for. And when we gather here today, we are looking at specific themes or in the form of commissions. And over the past decade and a half, the community radio sector has experienced tremendous growth in terms of numbers and in terms of audiences. Our challenges, however, persist. You know, it is a general fact that we do have challenges, and this 2 days we are trying to come to some kind of a agreement on the way forward. There might be different views that might not be able to be, that might not be reconciled, but we need those different views within the different commissions and debates over the next 2 days. So I think when we look at the context of us discussing the topics over the next 2 days, it is not about community radio as a broadcaster specifically, but it's about community radio as a social partner, you know, as a partner within local communities to drive development. And that's why we partnered with AIDC. And AIDC, Mark will speak straight after me to introduce AIDC and explain to you what AIDC is all about. Thank you.